But I mean, as a human being, I mean, shit, I was 18 years old when this band started. I'm 45 now. You know, what's changed since you were 18? A lot, you know, a lot, everything, you know, lifetimes, you know, I mean, way too much to even, I mean, it's what life is, right? So.
Blade of the Reaper, suspending the eye.
I live, I haven't lived in the city for 13, 14 years. I live in a small town, surrounded by mountains and woods and lots of trees, and I need that balance in order to find peace. I've just always found nature as being this very pure source of peace for me. The ocean has been a huge part of healing my mind over the years. It tends to kind of wash away the scars and the pain and the memories, and you know the trees do the same for me. You know, it's a place that I like to be with my family. I like to be out in the woods. I like to be near the water, the trees, the good air. I like to be away from people. I don't like to be in cities. I like to stay away from large groups of people as much as possible, honestly. I just don't. I get enough of it when I'm on tour, you know, and I had enough of it when I lived in Oakland, that I need to be able to have nature close by in order to be able to really feel in balance with my life. I just, you know, I became more and more tuned in to like Hank Williams Sr. and Townes Van Zandt, and you know, these guys and their approach, their kind of singular approach, and I just felt like I really needed to try to write some songs just by myself. It felt like someplace that I was going to be really, really uncomfortable with, and I really wanted to do that. I've always liked that in my life. Like when I was a kid, I used to love to take acid and go places where people hated me and just be there. You know, I really, really enjoyed that. I don't know why, but it was like one of the things that drove me, you know, as a kid. Just go take acid and go to a party full of people that fucking hate me, and hang out there and make them deal with it, you know. But I mean, so flash forward years later, I just got into doing something where I was completely uncomfortable, you know, something where I had no confidence whatsoever. I don't know how to play guitar, you know. I mean, I'm totally self-taught. I have no idea about any chords. I only know what the strings are called because somebody told me once, you know. I know nothing about music whatsoever. I can't even really watch someone else play and figure out what they're doing. Like, it just doesn't work for me. So as you can tell, you listen to that first record. The first record is very much sounds like somewhat of an acoustic Neurosis record or something. It's not as much clear separation in the songs, and as time goes on and I spend more time with it, I started to find these chords just by myself and become more confident with it. And now, strangely, it's the thing that I do the most. I perform solo way more than I perform with Neurosis. And it will probably be like that forever. I don't know that, when or if Neurosis is ever going to be able to do as many solo shows as I'm doing now. I'm doing, upwards of 50 solo shows a year. So, yeah, it just seemed like a real challenge, in some way. I wanted to learn how to express myself in this very simplistic, direct way. And I wanted to walk out on stage by myself with an acoustic guitar and force myself to sing these songs and try to find a connection with people that way. It took a while. It was definitely not happening at first. It took a while. It still depends on the night, It's difficult, very vulnerable. Neurosis is kind of the opposite of vulnerable. Neurosis is like wearing a giant shield of sound, It's like I could give a fuck during a Neurosis show, I'm completely, like, I don't feel pain. I'm like completely out of my mind. I don't, nothing gets in my way, or anything that does get in my way is sent flying. So, solo performance, it's like every little thing is there, every nuance, every sound, every little detail is there, and it really comes through, Every mistake I make, every sound I hear in the room, it all becomes a part of it, and it's a different experience.
So, since I've been about 18 years old, I've been writing mainly about the same sort of recurring themes. Trying to understand my relationship to death and to life, and trying to understand my relationship to light, because I don't see a lot of it. I've always felt like I was trying to get to it through all this dark matter in my brain. And so the songs that would come out of me would always reflect that. Although I do experience life like any other human being, and I do laugh a lot, and I do experience love and emotions beyond just these kind of dark or sometimes aggressive or other times just fucking sad parts of me. But again, it's all that comes out. I don't know what to say about that. I write these songs. This is what I do, right? So I was really shocked. About 3 years ago, I woke up one morning and I was getting ready for work and just having a cup of coffee, and I grabbed my guitar and I wrote this next song. And it was kind of different because it was about my family. And I'd never written a song about my family before. My family's a huge part of my life and my existence and my understanding of life. And my understanding of death and the struggles that go through all of these things that I've already mentioned. Through my children, through my wife, through my extended family, my brothers, I have come to learn and experience many things, but I've never had it come through in a song. So I was kind of, I was intimidated by the song. I was a little bit scared of it for a number of reasons, but the main one was that I felt like it's going to be very doing these acoustic songs is it's very open experience, and you're open to people yelling shit at you or laughing or whatever, just general disrespect happens a lot in these shows. And when I'm singing a song about my family, obviously, as you could imagine, that would be difficult to come to terms with. So I wasn't sure whether I wanted to share the song or not. And then, 6 months later, I looked at it and I said, yeah, I do, actually. I do, because the idea of it is more important than some bullshit that happens every once in a while at the show. And the idea is, for me, when I'm here, so far away from my family, I get to play a song for them. It keeps some sort of a spiritual connection. I feel a little bit deeper than talking on the phone or emailing or anything like this. And it also gives me an opportunity to dedicate it to you guys and to your families. Because, whether it's your blood or whether it's your chosen family, these are the people, this is it, right? This is why we're here. We chose this. We didn't have to come here. We chose to be here amongst each other. And strangely, that was my little crystalline moment of seeing some light out all this dark shit that we're all fucking dealing with, So, there you go. I've spoken. I don't play the song for you.
I don't really think that me doing solo music influences my music any more than the personal events of my life. I think that it all influences me. And that other music is not my primary influence when I'm creating music. When I'm creating music, it's more like painting a picture or something, It's more like I'm seeing a vision of some sort, or a picture that I want to, a picture that no one can see, that I'm trying to convey from my head.
My heart's empty inside. Next to fever, candle in the sky, through trials and tides, I'll stand beside.
Part of this starts to really creep in on you, and it's there's no way around it. If you're on tour 200 days a year, you had better be on top of the business part of it, otherwise you will not have a place to live when you go home, and the people that you care for will not have a place to live while you're gone. So we felt that we would be much better suited to start our record label, release our own records, go back to working our regular day jobs, which we had like 2 or 3 years there where we weren't really working day jobs all the time, and we were just touring a lot. And being home for our kids and our wives, and being again in balance. The balance is super important. You just can't run for very long if you're not in balance. As the world shows us, as it runs out of balance, headlong into whatever, And human beings are the same way. You gotta have balance. Things have to be equal, and you have to be able to do all these things that are very necessary. So we made the choice in, I think, 97 or 98 to just go home, focus on our music, our label, and do a few shows a year, And now this year will be pretty active for us. I think we'll do close to 30 shows by the time the year is done. And that's a lot for us in a year. Typically for us it's 10. You get asked by people who I really genuinely care about and respect to be a part of their recording. Generally I'm going to say yes if I like the material. That's the only other thing that comes into play, is if the song actually moves me to be creative. Amenra, that was kind of a moment of opportunity. I just happened to be doing a solo gig in April next door to where they were recording, and the engineer is an old friend of mine, Billy Anderson, and so they just said, you're here, do you want to sing on this record? I said, sure, I'll be right over. So, and they had the words ready, and the words were great, and the song was great, so I didn't write anything on that record. That was completely, I believe Colin wrote all the words, so. And I have a great respect for Amenra and what they're doing and how hard they're doing it, and really appreciate the effort that they put into every aspect of what they do. So, yeah, it's very cool. I am not the easiest person to deal with on many, many levels, and I have a lot of, I've got a lot of issues, man. I think that you can read my lyrics, and if you've ever seen me play, it's kind of obvious, I'm not the most well-adjusted person in the world. I'm just not. I'm trying to deal with a lot of shit and trying to be a better person, and trying to find a more peaceful place to be in my life, And, really for the first time, there's someone in my life who really wants that for me, and who actually, aside from my children, my children, and I have many friends who also love me for me, but it has been a long time since I was with a woman who actually loved me just for me and didn't really give a shit about my music or any of that, and that's her. In fact, it was once she found out that because she didn't really know anything about that when we met, and when she figured that out, she almost was like, "Whoa, I don't think I want to have anything to do with you because you're a musician, and musicians are insane." And well, this is true. I mean, musicians and artists typically are kind of insane, and so, but she stuck with me, and it just means a lot to me, man. Because I mean, my family needs that. I need that. My kids need that, and somehow, some way, after all these years, it came out in some songs, in some pretty direct ways. Some of the lines in those songs are pretty direct. And some of them are a little more vague, a little bit, But I think that my love for her and for my children is all over that record, and it's a trip, man. It's not. I mean, it is. I've been writing about the same shit for 25 years, I've been constantly in this cycle of death and darkness and trying to find the light and dealing with my my own mental health and my own damage and pain, and this has been the totality of everything that I've written about for 25 years. There's been nothing else, And it's not because I don't have enjoyment in my life, I do. I have good friends. I have good family. I laugh, just like anybody else, But it never comes through in my heart, In my heart, it's always this other thing. For some reason, not on some of these songs. Some of these songs came through a different way, so it's interesting to me, and I'm totally happy with it, honestly. It feels good. You wait so long, all of a sudden something different happens, Cool. Take it. I don't know what comes next. Who knows?